everybody, and welcome to this week's Cruise Chat. I'm Kathleen Penner, owner of Plenty of Sunshine Travel, and today I'm joined by Charmaine, and Charmaine is from Tauck Cruises, and I've met with her before on 3 separate occasions. It's been fabulous to get to know her and to talk about your brand. So if anybody wants to look back at those episodes, they are numbers 12, 24, and 34, but make sure you come back to this one because we've got some really great content. And on that note, if you want to make sure you subscribe to our channel to see these videos when they first come out, because I meet with a different cruise line every single week. So over to you, Charmaine.
Great. Thanks so much, Kathleen. Welcome, everyone. We were just saying that the world is feeling a little more optimistic today about things in general. So depending on when you're watching this, hopefully the world has begun to open more so for yourselves. So yeah, today we're going to talk about a very special program at Tauck. It's all very near and dear to all of our hearts, and that is our Bridges program. But in particular, we're going to be talking about our river cruise program. So Bridges is our multi-generational group of journeys. Brand, I think, is the official title, but basically it's a group of journeys that we do specifically for families. And often I get asked by people when I'm on the road talking about it, they're like, oh, okay, so it's family friendly, so maybe there's going to be a few kids. We're a family company. It started with Arthur Tauck in 1925. Arthur Tauck Jr., you'll see him in the center there, the photo. Let me just point him out. He was celebrating a very, very special birthday this year. He turns 90. Wow. And I know, right? So it was his dad who started it all. And Bridges really came about, as many things do at Tauck, with conversations between the family members. So his 5 children are all in the photo here with all of his grandchildren. And it began really with Arthur talking about and his kids about how they wanted to travel with their children and really wanted journeys that were designed specifically for families traveling together. So it's about spending time with your family. It's not about plunking kids in programs and see you at the end of the day, but really about sharing incredible memories. And so I think that's one of the key differences when you're looking at a family journey. We're a family company, and it really is extremely important to all of us that you get to spend that special time with your families. And I've got, multiple stories. I've done a few Bridges journeys myself, and it really is just incredible. When we first introduced river cruising, there were a lot of sort of raised eyebrows because it isn't a type of program that people tend to think of, right? For families, we think of, big ships with all kinds of flashy, slides and entertainment, and the kids don't always need that, And the beauty with river is that you are all together for part of the time on a lovely environment on the ship itself. But there's not the packing and unpacking if you were to take them on a tour or, a road trip or what have you. So it's a really great way to relax and see the middle of Europe, which is why we all love river cruising.
And so because you're
exactly
there,
oh my gosh, exactly. That is exactly what we were after. And so I did do the Rhone, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, and it was really great to watch everyone's reactions and pleasant surprises. And of the vast majority, if not everybody, maybe except for myself, had never been on one, and how much they all loved the fact that it really was just a great way to see that part of Europe.
And so we together is phenomenal.
Exactly, right? Because at the end of the day, it's the shared memories. That's what you talk about. And so to be able to do it with your family is just incredible. And sometimes it's just, a grandparent traveling with one grandchild celebrating something special, or it's, a family of parents and kids, or it's, all of the above when you've got all 3 generations traveling together. And so typically we don't take them under the age of 5, and sort of 8 to 10 is a bit of a sweet spot. The one that I went on, the kids ranged in age from 8 to 18. Okay. And I'll show you a photo of that in a minute. So again, everything that we do on the Bridges journeys on the river, like all of our Bridges journeys, they are different from the similar journey that sort of is the adult one. For example, they get to, fly a kite off the back of the riverboat. Although we've had some adults say that we should probably look at doing things like that too. But yeah, so everything is sort of, designed to keep them entertained. There was a lot of card playing too, on the one that I was on, but everything, as I said, ultimately as a parent or an adult, you want your kids to learn some things. And what better way to do that than in Europe? You're floating along with lots of great storytelling. At Tauck, we're so good at that, with our team of directors. And so all of these incredible excursions that we're going to talk about today, they're all included in the price, because that's kind of my last slide. But just so you know, when you're watching this, that this is not coming, at a little additional cost here, there. I think here these young girls have made some chocolate. So there's lots of fun hands-on activities, because kids, we know kids don't want to sit and be lectured at. They want to do things. They want to be involved. And, you have to kind of keep all that, but keep in mind what grandma wants out of it too, right? So, so again, it's always about looking for those amazing, incredible things. And I have to tell you,
experiences are so fabulous because it's the hands-on learning, and they don't even realize they're learning, but it's just fully immersive. So
isn't that the best kind of learning, right? Is you want to do it. They don't know, they just learn something. Yes. I always remember my youngest daughter, when I took her on her first trip when she was 14, and she said, "Oh, wow, history is so interesting." Like, yay, we did it. But ultimately, I think at the end of the day, what a lot of, whoever the planner is in the family, whether it's mom, dad, grandma, whatever, ultimately what I heard the most often, and anytime I talk to people that have done a Bridges trip, that it was the best holiday they went with their family, because they could sit back, be just enjoying this moment, and not worrying about what are we eating today, where are we going, who wants to do this, who wants to do that. It's all so much more relaxed. And I mean, often kids come home and say it was the best holiday, but if you look at the parents, they're all frazzled, So
they work so hard, they need a holiday from their holiday.
Exactly. And I think, yeah, there were so many parents came up to me when I did the Rhone, and any of them, but they all came up and were high-fiving me, going, "This was the most fun that I've ever had with my kids on vacation." And I think ultimately, right, and then everybody has a great memory instead of one's version is, "Oh, it's so stressful." You guys can make up your mind about what you want to eat. So, yeah, everything, even, the way we design, every aspect is designed for kids. And to keep it as friendly and easy for everybody, and ultimately meet whatever their interests might be. We were watching the year I went was FIFA Cup. And so there was some very friendly competition between staff and guests. We had a German chef, and we had, a French waiter, and we had the Hungarian bartender. And then we had, Americans, Canadians, we had British, we had a couple of South African people on the trip. And so it was really quite fun. And they specifically would record the games for us, so that we could watch it. And then everybody had to swear a code of silence not to know who won. And then we would watch the highlights that evening back on the show. Anyway, it was lots of fun. So sometimes it's the things you don't expect. And that's the great fun about travel, right? Yes. And of course, they were all bugging me, being the sole Canadian, that Canada wasn't in the FIFA Cup, but whatever. Another year. Anyway, so altogether now we have completed our set of 6 different journeys that we do on the rivers of Europe. And we'll highlight each of them here for you as we go along. But just to give you an idea, there's lots of different choices. So if you've never river cruised and you really want your family to experience one maybe that you've done that's near and dear to your heart, or you want to all try something new. So we literally have one on all of the main rivers now, the Douro being the last one that we've added. So I'll show you that one at the end. So I'll start with Castles on the Rhine. It's just a spectacular journey. It's a cruise only journey. Most of the Bridges programs don't include hotel stays, so they're cruising only for the 1 week, and then of course you can add on days at either end, of course, at your leisure. So sailing in either direction, north or southbound, between Basel and Amsterdam. So again, you've got that beautiful sailing the one day where it's the castles of the Rhine, the UNESCO World Heritage protected area, where literally there's a castle on every hillside. And so it's a wonderful day to be sailing. And there's always different opportunities. I've mentioned in some of my other ones when we talked about the Rhone and a few of the other Danube. I'm trying to remember which other ones we've done in our series, but at Tauck, we always like to take our guests off the ship for a dining entertainment evening. And so, because it's really important to be able to experience that as well as eating on the ship, which is fun, but to do it, and then to do it with kids, we try to keep it, you know, very special for them. So on this particular itinerary, they get to go to a real castle and have dinner, and there's, you know, fun entertainment and just a really spectacular way to spend an evening
And how
on
awesome
the
would that
Rhine.
be to say that's where I had dinner one night? Like,
Right? Yeah, it's just so cool. And on this itinerary, of course, because Basel being so close to Mount Pilatus, we take them on a cogwheel, the very cool cogwheel train. I believe they take that up and then take the gondola ride back down again. So again, you've got this really fun opportunity to spend the day up in the beautiful mountains of Switzerland. So this is a really, again, lots of just fun, different activities. Some of them, of course, cross over to our regular programs, but again, our, you know, directors and so on and so forth are all really accustomed to dealing with kids. So it's a bit different. So then we do the one on the Rhone. So this is the one that I got to do a few years back. And this one is a little bit different in that it does include 2 nights in Paris. The photo you see there on the bottom left corner, that's Fouquet's. And it's funny that for French, they do pronounce the T. I've had people tell me I'm saying it wrong, but when Fouquet's was built back in the early 1900s, it was trendy to pronounce it like English. So it was called Fouquet's. Somebody may correct me, but I'm pretty sure that's the right story.
No.
Anyway, it's a fabulous little restaurant. And we do a lovely opening dinner here. And there's lots of fun entertainment for the kids. And it really kind of gets the ball rolling. So we spend 2 nights in Paris and then 5 nights sailing round trip Lyon. So we start off, head down to the south to Arles, and then back up again. And the ship that we use here too is a little smaller than on some of our other rivers, like the Rhine and the Danube. So this one is 98 guests at the most. The ship was gutted and rebuilt a couple of years ago. So Paris, of course, is just, it's a really fun city, lots of history, lots of art, but just really fun, interesting things to do. We have a picnic in I always say this word wrong, but Tuileries Gardens, which is the very pretty garden. Anyway, starts with a T. You can Google it. So we do a wonderful little picnic lunch there. It's lots of fun. The kids get to run around, get some energy out, and then we go and visit some of the other things. Probably one of the highlights of all the journeys that we do on the Rhone, and again, it's done a little differently for the kids, is when we're in the Camargue, which is in the very southern part of the Rhone. We go to this gorgeous private ranch. It's family owned and run, in this particular case, 3 generations of the family, and they greet us as we pull in on their beautiful white horses, and absolutely stunning. They are breeders. They do lots of different things on their farm. They do a little show for everybody. And then we have this beautiful lunch in there. I mean, I want to say it's a barn, but it's not, but you know what I mean? This is just, and with lots of local food. There's a lot of rice fields, if you're familiar with this area in the southern part of France. And so, yeah, there's opportunities to try new food, but familiar things as well too. So again, just a really fun, great way to spend. I took this photo a few years back, so I'm pretty sure those young kids now are probably well into their teens. Yeah, and then this is actually a family that sort of adopted me on the trip. I became Auntie Charmaine to these kids, and we've stayed in touch over the years. But here they're standing in front of the Pont de Gare, and that is something, again, that we visit regularly when we're in this area. However, when we visit with our Bridges program, I get a very special guide who has a very special key. And the key is that he can open the gate, and we get to actually walk across the top of that Roman aqueduct. Now this was built by the Romans, so we can all imagine how very old this is. And so there is a walkway along here for anyone who's not comfortable with it, because it's not open to the public, because it's not necessarily able to withstand thousands, if not millions of people. So it is only open for Tauck and maybe a handful of other small groups. And as I said, we really only go here on the Bridges journey, but the kids love it. We got to walk across. It was historic, but fun. And then, as I said, some of them were waving at, whoever wasn't up to doing the walk down below. But again, it just made for lots of fun stories that evening, and it really was just a fun, special day. And it's just such a beautiful part of France.
Exclusive just for your cruise line and a few other, minority ones, but yours is such a good memory to have. And to say, oh, well, I got, and put your
exactly. And I have to say, everybody was taking a picture of the guy with the key, because it was like, look at us, we're going on. Anyway, yeah, it's all funny what we all take away from things. But yeah, absolutely. It was really fun to do.
That's so exclusive. Yeah. It is great to have. Yeah.
Yeah. I think, again, it's just one of those things that we felt at Tauck was worth making the arrangements to do so. And as I said, the feedback from our guests has always been, it was really one of the special highlights of a journey that is incredible anyway. I mean, you're walking in Arles in the footsteps of Van Gogh, and you get to, learn about him and his stories and his troubles. And, but again, everything done to keep the momentum and not too long. We play pétanque as well too, which is like a French version of bocce. And we did it with a local club. They didn't speak English. Most of us didn't speak any French. There's always, our directors and guides with you to assist with it, but it didn't matter. We were just
miming. You can get your point.
Yeah, you're throwing a ball and people sort of get it. And there was lots of carrying on and laughing, and it was good fun. Awesome. So there's lots of really fun opportunities along the Rhone. And then our other journey that we do in France, of course, is in the north along the Seine, and it has again, this one is cruise only. You can see here the yellow portion is the day that we go to the D-Day beaches. I will say the only challenge really for those of us that are Canadian is that we go to Omaha, so we don't visit Juno Beach unless I can get quite a few Canadians on there, and then they would certainly look at it, because you drive right past it on your way there.
Yeah.
So. Yeah. But anyway, something to keep in mind, but it is still a very moving. The point of the day is to certainly
reflect.
Yeah, you know what? Thank you, Kathleen. That was the perfect word. And truly, I think no matter who you are, whatever age you are, when you're there and you're standing where these battles took place and you're reading the stones and seeing the ages of these kids, most of them, it really does hit home. How lucky we are, very blessed we are that these people went before us and made these sacrifices. So it's a very moving day without a doubt. And it's just a very poignant way to do it. But the journey is filled with lots of fun things. This is, of course, the beautiful Giverny, where Monet painted all his beautiful water lilies. And it's a great garden. We go in early before the crowds get in, which can be quite busy, of course. It's a very popular spot. So again, it allows kids to really be able to take it all in before it gets too busy or too many tall people are standing in front of them or whatever that might be. And then other things, like we go to Honfleur. We get to sample all the different things that this area is well known for, the cheese and the camembert, which is more cheese, but yeah, there's lots of cheese for sure. So yeah, a great one. Again, one of my absolute favorite rivers. I shouldn't say that because I love them all, but yeah, the Danube again is just something really special. We've got lots of different opportunities. There's jousting, there's opportunities to see a variety of things. So as I mentioned earlier, the ships in France are a little smaller with 98 guests at the most. Most of the time they could still be on ships. We have two of them that still sail on the Danube that are 98. And then our newer ones have, like the Joy, have 130 if they're full to capacity. Yeah. So again, here's another.
Still not overwhelming. It's decent. Yeah.
No, exactly. And then so and it's a great mix, as I said, of lots of different families traveling together. And again, as I have mentioned before, we always have our sparkling events. And so we still visit the Palais Pallavicini in Vienna, which we do with our regular program. But to do it with families it's just a touch special in that, and I don't think I'm giving away any secrets, but they do have a waltzing lesson for the kids. And the first one to get chosen by our hostess is always, I think, a very special dance, and you see lots of tears on the parents, particularly mom or grandmother. It's just a very special moment. And I think that, you know, if you tell them in advance, they probably go, ew, but once they're there and they're in this Baroque palace and the history of Mozart playing here and Beethoven, and then, you know, they get this opportunity and they are maybe a little more dressed up if they want to be so. And we're pretty casual with how we really don't, enforce any dress rules anyway, but even less so when you're traveling with families. But it really is, I've seen some videos. There's a couple of them, I think, on our website, and there's definitely, a few verklempt moments, but again, it's just a very
too, so yeah.
And again, what we've always tried to do is give families the opportunity to see and do things that they wouldn't be able to do on their own, and or would maybe not even think to do. And I think that's really the key to our architects who design the journeys with the family, our family, Tauck Family Blessing, but just knowing that, we all get it, that this is really an important way to see the world and do so with such great memories. So a couple of years back, we decided that there were families looking for something to do over the Christmas break, and something a little non-traditional. So we host a Danube family bridges cruise over on the Danube over the holidays. And now a lot of people, when they think of that area at that time of year, you do think Christmas markets. So because this is actually over the holidays, there's maybe only an opportunity to see a market at the very beginning of the cruise, because they do actually close the markets once you get to Christmas. So if you're sailing over the holiday between Christmas and New Year's, the markets are no longer open. But so there is an opportunity at the start. So you get to see and do all of those wonderful things. We decorate the ship. The kids get to buy an ornament, decorate the Christmas tree. Whether you celebrate it that way or not, I think it's just a fun thing to do. And I know I've talked.
Take the ornament home and have
exactly. And there's your special memory. And if you've ever been to a Christmas market, you also know the big thing is the mugs. Every market has a mug. So this way you won't come home with too many mugs. But you will still get that opportunity to have that Glühwein or hot chocolate or whatever that keeps you warm and happy and snug on that visit around the market. So, and again, it's not like it's pushing sort of the season on you as such, but just more embracing what's a very special time in a special part of Europe. And so again, we get people from all different backgrounds just looking for something different to do over the holidays. So that's something to keep in mind. And of course, this area is well known for its gingerbread. And so they get to see how it's made, they get to taste it. And again, so just a more hands-on kind of workshop as well too, than what we would traditionally do, but allowing, again, just to be able to embrace a really fun holiday tradition in an area that really gave birth to so many of traditions that that many of us hold over the Christmas holidays. So lots of fun, lots of food, and still always, like, I think, there's always different choices of activities. I think I've forgotten to mention a couple of them, but before I show you the Douro, like, there's a one day they can go, not this season, of course, but kayaking in addition to hiking and biking, because there are bicycles, of course, on board all of our river boats. And again, giving people choices of activities. So there are choices of excursions to choose from, as we do with all of our journeys, but again, keeping in mind what keeps them happy and content, and with the extra directors. So 3 to 4 Tauck directors on every boat, which makes a difference. And the directors, as I said, are specifically often flown in for the Bridges dates, just because we need them to be, they have to like kids, right? So that's always a key thing.
It certainly is.
Right? Yeah, no, for sure. It's always, and it is so much fun. I remember I traveled on the Rhone with a director that I had traveled with before, and he's, a wealth of knowledge. He's British. He's got, great history background, um, and a very interesting man. And then when I saw him on the Rhone with the kids, literally I was teasing him that he was like the Pied Piper, because he has no kids of his own, but he was like everybody's favorite sort of uncle. And
Yeah,
he, every time he went anywhere, there was like these group of 8-year-olds following him everywhere. They were
little
all like, we
duckling
want you to come
following
in there.
around.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's good fun. So when we introduced the Douro, which of course this river journey was to have started in 2020,
Mhm.
obviously was put on the back burner, but I know I've seen pictures from our partners at Skilla showing the ship. So she is in the water, and she's
Mhm.
doing some things, waiting for all of us to get over there. So we came up with 3 journeys on the Douro, and one of them is a family dedicated journey. And we are, I think, the only company doing it currently on this river. And it is a little longer than our other programs, but it allows us 7 nights, one-way direction. So you'll sail on the Douro from the Spanish border into Porto, and then with Madrid for 2 nights. So a great opportunity to see a city with lots of fun, different things to do. Salamanca, you can see there, that's literally a lunch stop. So we don't stay overnight there. So it's 2 nights Madrid, and then 7 nights sailing on the new Andorina, never say it right, Andorina. Anyway, it'll come to
On
me.
that ship mentioned right there. Yes. There you go.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Exactly. So here you can see again, there's lots of different places where the kids can go, or families can go cycling together if they wish, some hiking opportunities. And on all of our journeys, there's, because we do, families anyway, for the most part, tend to want to be even more active maybe than many of our other programs. But again, we want to keep the program designed that it isn't, the kids are doing this and the grandparents are doing something else. So everything is really designed so that they can do it together if they wish to, or at least it's not the whole day where they're, spending the day apart. But again, sharing some memories that night over dinner on the ship. So, but yeah, so this river certainly lends itself for that as well too. And then I'll just show you kind of quickly a little bit about the ship, just as a little reminder of what our ships look like, because it does make a difference. It's where you're sort of living for a while. The question I get the most when I'm talking about river is that traditionally, as I'm sure you know, Kathleen, most river cruise cabins are designed for 2 people. They're not big enough for, to add in another person. However, our suite, so the top category on our river boats, has a sofa bed in it over here on the right, and that opens up to allow 2 children. Now, again, it's going to be capped more by their size than their age, because you wouldn't put 2 very tall kids in there, but certainly a family of 4 can easily share the suite, or 3. It comes in handy, especially when you have families who are uneven numbers. So you could have 3 here and 2 on another cabin. Our lower deck, the category 1, so that's the lead-in category on the lower deck. The 2 windows don't open, of course, because they're at water level, but there's no single supplement on those. So again, it really does allow for families of all sizes to be able to partake. The pricing works out lovely with the suites, and they get the other little walk-in closet and a few other fun amenities. And you're up on the top deck with the 2 full French balconies. So do keep that in mind, because we can do that. We don't have adjoining cabins for the simple reason that there's a noise factor when you're not sailing together with another room. So we just felt it was easier to do it this way, and our families love it. I mean, it really it could be
Thinking about putting, one child down on that room that doesn't have the single supplement. It's not like the big mega ships where you have to walk in and get to their room. You're still
yeah,
very close together.
absolutely. I mean, the rule is there's to be an adult in there. So if anybody from Tauck is watching the video, you have to have an adult in the room. But to say that doesn't happen, absolutely. Yeah, no, it's all good. But it's so true, right? Because again, there's that sense of security in that you're, and we do have security guard on board. That was introduced many years ago now. And again, it just gives everybody that little extra sense. I say he, but it can be a she, that wandering around, they're there as you come and go, especially when we're docked next to other ships. And they're just that little extra presence just to give everybody that peace of mind.
Yeah.
And I think that, again, always speaks to anything when you're planning a family vacation is, and even more so in the times we live in now, so we've taken all the health precautions. Skilla has been operating last year and implemented all of the different protocols that we will now be living with at least for a while. And, gotten rid of the buffets. There'll be more served food than what we've done traditionally. All of these different things has been implemented already, because ultimately, we all need that. I mean, we've been doing a lot of these things for years. As a company, we were one of the first to implement the security guard, and it wasn't done to make people feel nervous, but they're friendly, they're approachable. I mean, everybody gets pictures taken with the guard at the at the end of the week. They're lots of fun, and they have really great stories as well too. So anyway, so yeah. So here again, just
a great extra security, like you said. It's just
exactly,
absolutely.
absolutely.
With young children, you just want to make sure everything is going to go smoothly.
Yeah, it's another set of eyes, right? And I think everybody sort of does that anyway, as parents watching other parents' kids, but also the staff, and they really. It was wonderful seeing the shared friendships between the crew and the guests, and they all tell me anytime I've sailed. Is that it is definitely one of the funnest weeks on the ship for everybody, because they just bring that element of youth, and that makes it fun. And then just to see the special memories being created, it really is. I think I've laughed and cried more on a Bridges River than I have on any trip I've ever been on. So, but I will also just point out, just so people know, that there is a sign on the bar, and it says American rules. So in the US, you have to be 21 to drink. So there was an 18-year-old. You would have seen him earlier in the photo. He's much older now, of course, but he was 18, and his whole point of the trip was to be able to tell his friends that he could, drink in Europe, and which is true. However, not on the ship. So he could have a drink, but only if his parents obviously got it for him. And then he decided that maybe Auntie Charmaine should also. And I said, no, it's okay, honey. Your mother already warned me not to go and do that for you. But yeah, again, I think it just speaks to the fact that we've kind of thought everything through, and, keeping it fun. And so then here's Arthur's, which is the alternate dining at the back of the ship. And again, this is just a great way for families who maybe don't want to go to the formal dining room. Not that it's formal, but maybe they just want to grab a burger. The mac and cheese has always been a big hit, or a salad, or whatever, or just hang out. And if you've got a big group traveling together of 10 people or something, they can always reserve a table up here. So it's just a really great alternate. If the grandma wants to get up early and have a nice little breakfast before the rest of the ship wakes up, you can do that too. So it's really and of course one of the greatest places to sort of hang out when we're sailing, because these windows can all slide open. You can sit out back as well, of course, or you can sit up top where we've done barbecues or ice cream parties, and lots of different ways. So again, just another opportunity to share some time in a little different format as well too. And then the lounge is where everything happens. This is where there's lots of different activities. One of my favorite things that we did on the Rhone was one of our tour directors had got off the ship that morning while the rest of us were we had a couple of trainees on my particular sailing. And so one had an opportunity to kind of skip out for a couple of hours. And so she went into the market, and Lyon, as we probably, or most everybody knows, is the gourmet capital of France. And so she picked up a variety of cheeses, and then the chef prepared some escargot. She bought some of those beautiful little macarons, those fabulous little cookies that do taste so much better in France than they do here. And so as we're sailing away, sort of as a little get to know each other once we were on the ship, she created almost like a Fear Factor game where they, you know, her and the chef kind of explained why cheese is blue, why does it smell, why is it runny, you know, what's an escargot. And then it was, you know, now who wants to come and try everything. And so immediately we had a group of about 6-8-year-old boys who were double daring each other.
Boys.
Right. Yeah. And then it sort of took on a life of its own, because obviously everybody was encouraged to come out and try it. But immediately, you know, the one kid who we learned was quite precocious, he was lots of fun on the trip, it turned to his grandfather and said, okay, Grandpa, it's your turn now, get up here. And you could see he didn't really want to do it. Come on, you got to try it. I eat it. Look, you know.
Yeah.
And so then the next thing you know, everyone's talking to everybody, everybody's, you know, talking about different things. So it was just a great little icebreaker. I know, hopefully they still do it, but it was really lots of fun, but just a great way to introduce, you know, some kids were very, depending on their backgrounds, had tried a lot of it, or who they were all very, you know, quick to shell. Oh, I've had this before. I've eaten escargot, you know, whatever. But it was just lots of fun, lots of good storytelling. And so again, this is where we'll have, you know, there's the television sets there too, where we would watch the soccer matches. But just in general, you know, kids were just hanging out, playing cards, talking, parents were meeting other parents. So lots of great bonding and storytelling, of course, took place in the lounge itself. So here's the Enderine. I just want to kind of show you her because she's we're pretty excited about her. She's brand new. And so she looks similar again to our other ships. However, less guests. So that river works better with a smaller ship. So she's 84 at the most, but also again with our team of directors. And again, I think that is such an important part of traveling with Tauck, as opposed to companies that just have a cruise director on board. But this is probably the coolest thing about this one is there's an actual pool, not a little plunge pool, which is what we have on our other ships. But the Douro itself is a warmer destination. And just by nature of that, we knew that we needed, and people would want to spend more time doing more of this type of activity. So we're pretty excited. Yes. And she looks great. So she'll be, there's a couple of videos. I saw one on Instagram the other day that somebody had posted. So yeah, so lots of cool stuff. So here, as I said, just as a quick recap, as with all of our journeys, everything is included. And I think so important for families knowing that all the gratuities, they don't have to go around tipping for 4, 5, or 10 people. And that's on all of our bridges programs. So on water, always with Tauck, we include all the gratuities, whether you're on a regular journey or bridges, but every bridges journey. So if you're looking at Italy or Tanzania or the Rockies, the gratuities for the directors are already all included. So it's just one less thing to not have to think about or worry about. Choices of excursions are all included. The drinks are all included. The transfers, the internet's included when it works. Doesn't work well in a lock, which I'm sure, right, everybody probably knows if they've done one now. As soon as you go down, it's like, oh, all right, now, and then you got to wait for it to pop back up again. But again, yeah, so everything included. So what I'd like to do now, Kathleen, is show you your guests a little quick video about what we do on bridges. So it's not just river, but it's not a narrated as such. It's done with some fun, upbeat music. And I think we're all going to want to just go somewhere once we see it.
Yes.
All right. So let me get this revved up here for you.
Run down to the river, run down to the bay. Your eyes blue like the water, your smile bright as the day. Lie down in the meadow, lie down under the trees. Your voice soft as a feather, your love light as a breeze. Just you and me. And I say, hey, hey, I just wanna stay. I just wanna stay right here with you. Hey, hey, I just wanna stay. I just
So it's a really a special way to travel. And as I said, I've had the opportunity to sail on the Rhone on our Bridges program. And here is a shot of all the kids and the captain, who was a young father himself, one of our youngest captains, who loved it. Like, he was forever taken. There was more bridge tours. Like, I think some kids were going for the 5th time, like, because he just made it so fun. And that echoed through the entire crew. So yeah, so when somebody says, well, really, are there going to be other kids? There will be kids. Yeah. We were 103 guests at that time. That ship was a bit bigger. And we were 42 kids between the ages of 8 and 18. And I have to tell you, I had so much fun hanging out with them all. Yeah, I get emotional.
The lively energy and all the memory. You see the wonder in their eyes, and it's just
exactly. And I think, I certainly do get emotional. It was, just to watch some of the interaction with, their grandparents and the stories and just, they were all hugging me, like as if I gave them this gift, which of course I didn't, but it really is, it's just very special. And I think if we've learned anything over the last year, and I know you and I have talked about this before, but the one thing we all, truly learned to respect, that is time. And that is something we've lost a lot of opportunities with our families. So we know that lots of families want to spend more time together because they didn't get to in this past year. So do keep something in mind when you're looking to do whatever you decide to do. But I think it's a really great way to really, and for kids to be able to see a different side, I think, of the adults in their life. And I think that I saw lots of that, without a doubt. And I heard stories that were shared that I heard had not been discussed. Sometimes there's a family history or a connection to a part of Europe. I mean, every adult I spoke to who was the trip planner said that, they had all picked different reasons for different parts of Europe, whether it's the Seine because of, a war history connection, or, distant relatives, because people have been certainly researching ancestry, or just a very special connection. This is where they honeymooned back in the whatever. And so they wanted to be able to share these places that were very special to them with the younger generation. So, yeah.
Wow, that was such a fabulous presentation. I really enjoyed it. Thank you for putting that together.
You're welcome.
I completely
Thank
agree with you, making those memories and, covering the 3 F's, which is, family, fun, and food. And you
right.
Put on those 3, put it right there. So,
and exactly, no shortage of it in Europe. I mean, there are so many opportunities to be able to do that. So I think, exactly. And I, at the end of the day, that's what, life is all about. We want to be able to enjoy these things, enjoy the trip, and then to be able to do it together, I think is really a special way to travel. So
amazing. Wow. Well, thank you so much again. I really appreciate it. And I hope everyone has a great week. Goodbye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks. Take care.
So much for watching this week's cruise chat with Charmaine from Tauck Cruises. It was just phenomenal to see some of those curated itineraries that are specifically designed for families and for children. It was just, I couldn't believe some of the activities that they do, and only Tauck does some of those. So that's just an extra bonus. If you're interested in learning more about anything that I have discussed in this cruise chat or any of our other past episodes, please reach out to me at info@plentyofsunshinetravel.com. If you would like to listen to this on the go, we have a podcast, and it's Cruising the Waves podcast. So you can head over to any of your favorite platforms. It's on pretty much all of the platforms, and just look for Cruising the Waves, and you will find us there, and then you can listen to us on the go. And if you're currently listening to this on the podcast, thank you so much for tuning in. If you'd like to see some of the pictures, by all means, head over to our YouTube channel, Plenty of Sunshine Travel on YouTube. And also, I post on Facebook and Instagram pretty much daily. So if you'd like to get in on the conversation, come and join us there. I'd love to meet you and to talk with you. And if you have any questions, I can answer it there as well. Thank you so much for watching this week, and I'll see everybody next week when I meet with Princess Cruises. Take care, everybody. Bye.